Hello there, my dear friend. I'm so happy you're here again today. Let's take a quiet moment together. Maybe you're listening while walking, or maybe you're sitting at home with a cup of tea. Wherever you are, I hope this story brings you a little warmth and peace. Today, I want to tell you about one of the most beautiful memories I have cooking with my mom. It's a small, simple thing, but it means so much to me. It was a Sunday morning. The house was quiet, and the sunlight came through the window. I could hear the soft sound of birds outside, and from the kitchen, the faint noise of plates and pans. My mom was already awake. She was always the first one to start her day. When I walked into the kitchen, she turned around with a gentle smile and said, "Good morning, sleepyhead. Are you hungry?" I nodded, still half asleep. The smell of garlic and onions was already in the air. It felt warm and familiar. The smell of home. She was wearing her light blue apron, the one she always used when cooking. Her hair was tied back, and she looked calm and happy. On the counter, I saw eggs, vegetables, and some rice left from last night. That could only mean one thing. We were going to make fried rice, my favorite. I loved watching my mom cook. Her hands moved fast but carefully. She never looked at a recipe or measured anything. She just knew how much salt, sugar, or soy sauce to add. When I was little, I thought she had magic powers. How could she make everything taste so perfect without reading a cookbook? But she always told me, cooking's not about numbers. It's about feeling. You taste, you smell, and you listen. At that time, I didn't really understand. But now, I do. She looked at me and said, "Come, help me cut these carrots." I hesitated. The knife looked sharp, and I didn't want to ruin anything. But she smiled and said softly, "Don't worry. Take your time." I started cutting slowly. The pieces were uneven, some too big, some too small. But she didn't say a word. She just watched me, and when I finished, she said, "Perfect." That made me feel proud, even if I knew they weren't perfect at all. Then she turned on the stove. The sound of the fire came alive, and she poured a little oil into the pan. It began to sizzle. The smell of garlic filled the room, and I could hear the soft crackle as she stirred. "Now the carrots," she said. I added them carefully, watching how they changed color. "Cooking is like life," she said quietly. "You wait, you watch, and you don't rush." I didn't understand it back then, but I still remember those words. After the vegetables came the eggs. She broke them into the pan with one hand, something I could never do. The sound of the eggs frying mixed with the smell of soy sauce. It was simple, but it made me so hungry. Finally, she added the rice. I loved that part. The rice made a soft, rhythmic sound as she stirred it around. She handed me the spatula and said, "Now you try." I was nervous again, but I took it. The handle felt warm in my hand. I moved it slowly, and some rice fell out of the pan. I looked up, expecting her to be angry, but she just laughed and said, "It's okay. It's how we learn." We cooked together for almost an hour. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. There was no noise, no rush, just the sound of food and the smell of warmth. It was a kind of peace that I didn't notice as a child, but now I miss it deeply. When the fried rice was done, she tasted it first. "Needs a little more soy sauce," she said, then added just a drop. She always knew exactly how much to use. I tried a spoonful. It was delicious, salty, sweet, and a little smoky from the pan. She smiled and said, "Good job. We make a good team." I still remember how happy I felt in that moment, like I had done something important. We sat down to eat together at the small wooden table near the window. The sunlight fell across the bowls, and the air smelled of garlic and rice. My dad came in, smiled, and said, "It smells amazing." My mom laughed and said, "Our little chef helped today." I felt proud again. For a long time after that, every Sunday became our cooking day. Sometimes we made soup, sometimes pancakes, sometimes fried noodles. It didn't matter what we cooked, it was always special. As I grew older, life became busier. I had school, friends, homework, and later work. I didn't spend as much time in the kitchen. But whenever I came home and smelled the familiar mix of oil, garlic, and rice, I felt like I was 10 years old again. My mom always welcomed me with the same smile and the same words. "Are you hungry?" One evening, I came home after a long, tiring day. I walked into the kitchen and found her cooking again. The same blue apron, the same calm face. I stood there watching her and she laughed. "Why are you just standing there? Come help me." I smiled and said, "I will." That evening, we cooked together again, just like old times. I realized how precious those moments were, the small, simple things that stay in your heart forever. Now, whenever I cook alone, I still hear her voice in my head. "Taste it first. Not too much salt. Add a little sugar. Don't rush." I've made many mistakes in cooking. Burned rice, overcooked eggs, salty soup, but every time I remember her patience and her smile, and somehow everything feels right again. Cooking with my mom taught me more than just how to make food. It taught me how to care, how to listen, how to be patient. It taught me that love doesn't need big words or fancy gifts. Sometimes it's just a bowl of warm rice shared at a small table. That's love, pure and simple. Now every Sunday morning, I still cook fried rice. It's not exactly the same as hers, maybe a little different in taste, but it carries her spirit. The smell of garlic and onions in the pan always reminds me of her hands, her voice, and her calm eyes. Even when she's not beside me, she's there in every sound, every smell, every taste. Sometimes I imagine her watching me and saying, "See, you've learned well." And I smile because she's right. I did learn not just how to cook, but how to make moments that matter. Cooking with my mom was one of the simplest, happiest parts of my life. And even now, it's still one of the ways I feel close to her. When I cook, I remember her laughter, her gentle voice, and the warmth of our kitchen on a quiet Sunday morning. Thank you for spending this moment with me, my friend. I hope this story reminded you of someone you love. Maybe your mom, your dad, or a person who taught you something simple but important. If you can, cook with them again, or just say thank you. The small things we share often become the biggest memories later. Take care, and see you again soon in the next episode of Daily English Stories and Podcasts.